there, everybody, and welcome to Stress Talk Live. This is where we help women who are over 40 to live healthier lives through strategic stress management and solution focused self care. I'm Marcyline Bailey, and I'm so glad that you joined me today. Today, I'm very excited because this is the kickoff to our summer series where we're talking about hacks to lower your stress levels and to boost your energy. And I'm really excited because we're going to focus on how you can use solution focused self care to do that. And as you'll recall, when I'm talking about solution focused self care, I'm talking about taking actions that actually solve a problem. Not only that, when I talk about strategic stress management, I'm talking about actions that you can take that will result in long lasting stress relief. We're not just talking about being relaxed for a few minutes, and we're not talking about tips that you can use that give you 5 minutes of comfort. We're talking about incorporating certain actions into your lifestyle that will result in long lasting stress relief. So, I want to ask you before we get started to make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe to ML Bailey Consultants on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We're going to be doing a lot of different things this summer. I hope you'll like it. I'm not going to give you, you'll find out through the week, during this week, what we're going to do. Also, our newsletter will hit your inbox tomorrow. So take a look at that because I have lots of, I think, good stuff where you learn why this is so important to me. So let's get into our topic for today. Today, we're talking about a simple summer self-care hack that really lowers stress levels. And I don't know, you probably got an inkling of that self-care hack when you looked at the graphic that I created for our announcements. I don't know, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. If you have an idea of what that self-care hack is, drop it into the chat. Just take a guess right now. What do you think the self-care hack is? Because I gave you a clue on the graphic that I used. So just drop it into the chat. If not, I'm going to tell you what it is right now. Any clue? Anybody? Anywhere? Okay, let's talk about what it is. So this self-care hack is really an important hack for us to use because it helps us to stay hydrated during the summer and even outside of the summer. It's drinking water. How many of you are drinking enough water? Raise your hands if you're drinking enough water, or better yet, drop it into the chat. Yes, just say, yes, I'm drinking enough water. That's one of the things that I struggle with, which is one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this, because staying hydrated is one of the best ways to lower stress on the body. Staying hydrated. You know, we're like, excuse me, I'm trying to fix my clothes here. Sorry about that. Staying hydrated is very important because it does lower stress on the body. And I'm going to talk about why we need water, why it's important to us. But I wanted to let you know that you can always tell when you're dehydrated. Drinking water helps us to stay hydrated. When you're dehydrated, basically you don't have enough water in your body, and your body starts to struggle and it stresses the body out. We have trouble concentrating when we are dehydrated. We are very tired, fatigued when we're dehydrated. And we also tend to have we have poor moods when we are dehydrated. Not only that, there are other physical signs like headaches. If you're experiencing headaches often, it may be that you need to drink more water. So water is very key for us. Sometimes we're thirsty, but we think we're hungry. If you drink water instead of grabbing that Snickers bar, Snickers, I love Snickers bars. If you drink water instead of grabbing that Snickers bar, that may be what you want instead of trying to satisfy a hunger. Not only is it important to stay hydrated because we feel better, it also helps our bodily functions. Imagine if you need to have a bowel movement and it's hard to pass the stool. It may be because you don't have enough water in you don't have enough water and you need to be drinking more water. You can also tell if you're dehydrated by the color of your urine. The darker it is an indication that you're not getting enough water. So we're going to talk about some of the benefits of having and drinking water. And again, I know this is like, oh, we know this, but I want you to think about how important it is because as a self-care hack, we don't always think about how important water is to us. Not only is it very simple drinking water, it also helps to lower the stress that our body experiences. So that's one of the reasons I'm talking about this particular summer self-help, self-care hack. So we need water, right? We need it for our bodies because it it has an important function. For one thing, water helps us to regulate our body temperature. Now we know that, what is it, 98.7, whatever our body temperature is, there's a range that is normal for us. It helps us to stay regulated. We don't want to be too hot and we don't want to be too cold. Well, when we have enough water and we're drinking enough water, our body temperature is very even. It stays within a natural range. Water helps to moisturize our eyes, our nose, as well as our mouth tissues. So think about winter when the air tends to be very dry and you have a stuffy nose. Sometimes when you blow your nose, because it's dry, you get a trickle of blood, right? That's because your nasal passages are dry. Think about your throat when it's dry, when the air is very dry. Your throat is dry, and that makes it hard to talk, right? So we need that. And have you ever had dry eyes? When our eyes are dry, they're scratchy, sometimes they're blurry, and it's hard to see. So water is vital to those functions, our eyes, our nose, and our mouth tissues. Water also helps to lubricate our joints. Now, if you're like me and you look like me, you have gray hair like I do, we know that sometimes our joints can get creaky. So, drinking enough water helps to lubricate those joints so they move. It's kind of oiling your joints, right? That's a vital function of water. It protects our organs and the tissues in our body. Also, it flushes away waste materials. Remember, I talked about urine and I talked about your bowel movement. When you have trouble, when you're constipated or you have trouble passing stool, sometimes it's because you're not getting enough of a water intake. Water also helps to dissolve the minerals and nutrients that our bodies need to repair themselves, to grow, to stay healthy. So, again, we want to make sure we're getting enough water because it's needed. Our body needs it. So, how do we know that we're thirsty or how much water should we drink? Well, we used to be told that we should drink 8 ounces of water a day, like 64 ounces a day. That's something that my nutritionist has told me to strive to drink 64 ounces a day. Now we're being told, however, that we should drink when we're thirsty. That if we drink water when we're thirsty, we will get enough water. I only have one issue with that recommendation, and that issue is that oftentimes we might ignore the thirst signs. We may ignore it and say, oh, I'll get water later, or I don't want water. I want to drink a soda, or I'd rather drink something that's sweet instead of drinking just good old, clear, cold water. I want to go over dehydration signs because, again, if we're ignoring um, signs of thirst, then chances are that we can become dehydrated. Not only that, because it's warm outside, and if we're doing outside activities, we expel a lot of water. We lose more water than when it's cool and we're not sweating and we're not spending as much time outside. So, what are some of the signs of dehydration? Number one, we're extremely thirsty. We cannot, we're just thirsty. It's like if we could just get some water, that would help us. Number two, we urinate frequently. So when you're dehydrated, you have an urge to go to the bathroom more often. Our urine is dark colored. Sometimes someone who is extremely dehydrated has urine that is like brown or tan in color. You're fatigued. You're not just tired, you're not just sleepy, but you're fatigued. It's hard for you to get up. It's hard for you to move. It's hard for you to go through your day without feeling like you could just collapse. Also, lack of water and dehydration can make you feel dizzy. You may feel lightheaded and dizzy. And as I said before, it's hard to think. So you might have confusion. Remember, when we've talked about or when you've heard about someone experiencing heat stroke or heat exhaustion, confusion is one of the main signs of heat stroke and heat exhaustion. We want to avoid that, right? We want to avoid heat injuries. We want to avoid cramping. If you've ever been outside working in the yard and you're not getting enough electrolytes in your body, your muscles can start cramping. I remember one instance where my husband had spent a lot of time outside in the yard. It was like he was out from daylight and then he was out there into the afternoon. And when he came in, he collapsed on the floor and he was balled up because his legs were cramping. He could not, I mean, they were like this. His muscles were all tight and like this. And so we had to get him rehydrated. We had to get the electrolytes into his system to relieve that cramping. So that's one sign of not having enough water, and it is also a heat injury. Another sign of not having enough water is heat exhaustion, which is something that I shared with you earlier, as well as heat stroke. When someone has experienced heat stroke, they need to go to the hospital immediately. It is a medical emergency. They need to go by ambulance immediately to the hospital because they are confused, they are unable to function, and their body can start shutting down. And I'm going to drink some water right now. Okay, so how do you know that you need water? How do you know when to drink? What signs can you look for? Because we've talked about how important water is, And we've also talked about what could happen if you don't drink enough water. So, how do you know when you need to drink? First, you're thirsty. You're going to have signs of thirst. Your mouth is going to be dry, and you're going to have an urge to put something liquid in your mouth and into your body. Also, you may not go to the bathroom as often. Um, on average, we may take about 7 trips to the bathroom a day. Some 4 to 10 trips per day. It just depends. It depends, and you know your body. I would say that I'm in the bathroom about 4 times over 4 times during the day, a couple of times in the evening before I go to bed. So I'm approaching that 10. I'm approaching 10. I'm approaching that 7, that average of 7. Let's say if you're not drinking enough water, you may go once or twice, right? So you want to make sure that you're drinking enough so that you're flushing the waste out of your body. Another thing that you want to keep in mind when in order to know when you need to drink, you want to keep in mind how physical you are. Are you exercising? Are you participating in outdoor activities? I shared with you that my husband was outside and he was in the yard working, and he started cramping. When he came in, he just started cramping. His muscles started cramping. And so it's very important to hydrate and stay hydrated when you are active, physically active, and especially if you're participating in outdoor activities. Excuse me. This morning we rode our bikes. We rode about 10 miles this morning. And so I made sure that I drank water before we left. I drank water. Oftentimes I'll drink water during the ride. We'll take a break and we'll drink water during the ride. And then when we get home, we'll drink even more water because we want to make sure that we're replenishing the water that we're expelling. One of the recommendations for staying hydrated when you're exercising is to, as I said, start drinking before you start. There's a recommendation that 2 to 3 hours before, drink 20 ounces of water. So before you even begin exercising, 2 to 3 hours before you start, drink 20 ounces of water. And then 30 minutes before you start, drink an additional 20 ounces. And I got this information from banner.com. The writer of this particular article was Bobby Boland. And the name of the article is Better Are You Dehydrated or Just Thirsty? So um, so the recommendation again is drink 20 ounces 2 to 3 hours before you start exercising, and then an additional 20 ounces 30 minutes before you exercise. That does not stop you from drinking water while you exercise or after you're done. Another thing is if you're outdoors and during indoor exercise, remember we lose water through breathing. When we're expelling air, we're losing water then. We're also losing water through perspiration as well as through urination, like when we go to the bathroom. So if you're exercising and you're really exercising, you're going to be sweating up a storm. And if it's hot, you're going to be sweating even more. You're also going to be expelling water through and moisture through your mouth as you're breathing out. You're going to breathe in air and you're going to breathe out air, but that air is going to have moisture or water in it. So keep those things in mind. So we're talking about being physical and we're talking about how to know when you need to drink. Basically, what I'm saying is you want to be proactive especially if you're going to be involved in some type of physical activity. Now, what about water substitutes? Alcohol, coffee, sugary drinks. Coffee is fine. You just want to make sure you're not adding a lot of sugar to it. Keep in mind that um, uh, things like syrups and creamers often have sugar in it. So keep that in mind that if you're drinking sugary coffee or frappes or cappuccinos, that has a lot of sugar in it. So you want to just be mindful of that. It's just like drinking soda. So if you want to focus on drinking water, getting more water in your body, you probably just want to focus on drinking water itself, coffee, black coffee, or even tea. Excuse me. What kinds of drinks do you all drink? Do you like water? Do you like water? If you like water, put a yes in the chat. I like water. Now, some people don't like water. They don't like it's plain. We've grown accustomed to drinking sweet drinks or flavored drinks. So I want to give you a few hacks to help you to increase your water intake. And this is a summer self-care hack because, right, it's going to lower the stress that you experience in your body. So, how do you increase your water intake in a way that is helpful? So keep in mind that 80% of our daily water intake comes from beverages and 20% from food. One way to increase your ability to drink water is to add fruit to it. I have started adding frozen fruit to my water, not pureed fruit, but I'll add sliced peaches or whole strawberries, sometimes sliced strawberries. I like the whole strawberries because they keep their form and my water doesn't have a lot of particles floating in it. Same with frozen peaches. But you can use any frozen fruit. You can use blueberries, you can use raspberries. Any frozen fruit will do as long as it's not pureed, because it will flavor the water. Also, it makes it cold. If you like cold water, it makes it cold. I love drinking my peach flavored water. And there's no sugar added. That's the added benefit. So add frozen fruit to your water. You can add it in the morning and the fruit will flavor your water throughout the day. You can also eat water-based fruits and vegetables. And I'm just going to share a list of those with you. Cucumbers. Cucumbers are 85% water and they only have 8 calories. Imagine you can sit at your desk and just chow down on a cucumber, right? Just chow down. You can slice it and eat it. You're getting good nutrients. There's very few calories in it, and it's 95% water. So that boosts your water intake. Tomatoes. Tomatoes have about 6 ounces of water in them in about 1 cup. If you 1 cup of sliced tomatoes um, has about 6 ounces of water. How easy is that? That's a hack. You can eat a tomato. Guess what? Add a tomato to your salad. Salads are mostly water. Add a cucumber, add tomatoes, and you can add lettuce because lettuce too is only 95% water. So eat a salad and you're getting you're getting an abundance of water. And it's good water. It's good. It tastes good. It's flavorful, right? Cucumbers, tomatoes, and lettuce. Have a salad. You'll get your add to your water intake. Apples. Apples are about, a medium apple is about 3 ounces, has about 3 ounces of water in it. Celery. Celery too. Celery is mostly water. If you have a cup of celery, you have about 4 ounces of water. Okay. Not only that, we watermelon. Who doesn't eat watermelon in the summer? Watermelon or any melon, watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew, all have a high water content. Watermelon is about 95% water. When you eat watermelon, though, you have to watch because it's also high in sugar, has a high sugar content. Peaches, 88% of water. For those of us in Georgia, we're kind of sad because our peach crop was really got nailed over the winter and the spring. So Georgia peaches are they're going to be very few and probably high in demand. So we'll probably have to eat South Carolina peaches. Yeah, I don't know. South Carolina peaches are good, but not as good as Georgia peaches. So, but Georgia peaches have 88% water. Zucchini, a wonderful summer vegetable, is 95% water per cup. So those are the ways that you can boost your water intake. And again, it's easy to add it to your lifestyle. This week, I'm going to talk about how to be able to do that and how to know if you're getting enough water. I'm going to do a quick little live this week. So, this is our summer hack. This is what we're talking about, a simple summer self care hack that really lowers stress levels. And I know you're like, yeah, everybody knows about water, but have you ever thought about water as a stress reducer? Yeah, I know. I didn't either. I didn't either until I started looking at what we can do strategically to lower our stress levels and what we can do from a solution focused standpoint to help that happen. So, we've just talked about a simple summer self care hack that's almost a tongue twister. A simple summer self care hack that really lowers stress levels. I've talked about the need for water, why water is important to us. Why? Because we need it. I also talked about how to know when to drink water and how to drink more water. And then I shared with you hacks to help you to boost your water intake in a way that fits into your life and into your lifestyle. I want to remind you to like, follow, and subscribe to ML Bailey Consultants on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for more summer solution focused self care hacks that lower your stress levels strategically. I'm Marcyline Bailey. That's all for now. As always, take good care.